Hello there. My name is Sam Phillips, and this is my lesson plan implementation for ED 631. The reason why I'm introducing my video like this is because I'm going to be having the camera set in the back of the room, and by doing that you won't have an option to see, or you won't be able to see kind of the things that I have set up on the board or on the screen. So I want to take you through that first, okay? The very first thing that I want to show you is how the kids will be greeted when they come into class. Up on the screen I always have exactly what it is that I want the kids to have out or get out when they come in. That way we don't spend a lot of time doing that when they come in. As you can see, it says, as you arrive in class today, please get out your textbook, your notebook, and grab an iPad from the shelf. Today we're going to learn about main ideas and summaries. Next up here, you see that I always have my learning targets there for the students to see at all times. So if anytime they walk into the room and they're late for class or something like that, they know exactly what it is that we're learning about, and they're not too far behind. These are today's events that we're going to have in class. I always like to give them a good idea as to what's going to go on. These are going to be some notes that they're going to take in their notebook, just kind of brief. I never like to overload them with notes. And then lastly, this is a vocabulary word section down here on the board that I'm going to allow them to come up with vocab words that they may have struggled with from the reading. All right. From this point on, I'm going to be doing my lesson. I'm going to stop this and I'll start it back up. Thank you. All righty. Well, good morning. Good morning, class. Hopefully, as you came in, you got a chance to look at what's going to be going on today in class and a little bit about what I wanted you to get out when you came in. So hopefully, you all have your textbook out, your notebook out, and you've taken the time to grab an iPad from one of the two shelves back in the corners. So if you don't have those two things, or those three things, go ahead and get those out right now. That'd be great. All right, thank you. Well, if you also notice the second thing on the screen today, it says today we're going to learn about main ideas and summaries. Okay, so that's going to be kind of our focus. That's going to be what we're talking about. I know you've talked about them before in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, but now here in 6th grade we're really going to lock it down. We're going to take a look at main ideas, which is basically what the story is about, and then kind of some supporting details or some good information about that main idea. Your learning target is right up here, just in case you get kind of you maybe space out or something during the lesson. You can always look up here and see exactly what it is that we're working on today. We're working on identifying, as I said, main ideas and then creating summaries off of stories. Over here you see our class schedule for the day. Today's class, we're going to, we've already done the welcome, but we're going to do a little activity where I introduce the summaries to you via taking just some really brief notes. And I want you to have this example in your notebook so you can reference back to it should you have any questions. Next, we're going to read and listen to the stories. I've selected a story for you today that's about sports, and I know you guys like sports, so we're going to read that story, and I have options where you can listen to it as well. I really got you set up nicely. Next, I'm going to take a little bit of your time, and I'm going to read an example of a good summary. Okay, that way, once again, you have something that you can base your summary off of. After that, I'm going to let you guys create your own summaries. You can do this whether you're using your iPads that you already have, or perhaps maybe in a notebook or something like that. After that, we're going to share them with the class. We're going to use this for a couple of things. One, it's going to be an opportunity for you to share something that you're proud of, something that you've worked on, but also it's going to be an opportunity for me to hear it and for your classmates to hear it and kind of hear some examples of things that went right and went wrong, and maybe help you kind of clarify some of your mistakes. And then lastly, for class today, we're going to look at what's going on tomorrow and then in the next couple of days. Okay? Please get out your notebook. We're going to begin our next section of our activity shortly, where we're going to look at the summaries. Okay? Okay. Well, now hopefully you guys all got your notebooks out. What I'd like you to do first is I'd like you to title your notes for today. I want you to title it Summary Activity. Okay? As you can see, I only have a little bit of notes for you today. But I want you to have this, as I said earlier, as something that you can look back on and really build your summaries off of and have a kind of a template, as I like to say. The first thing that I want to talk about with your summaries is the main idea. The main idea of a story is just as you're putting up here in your notes, it's what is the story about? Who is the story about? Maybe it's a character, maybe it's an event. Anytime you read a story, there's going to be a main idea, and usually that main idea is introduced to you very early within the story. Okay? So once you've figured out what the story is about, that's half the battle. your first sentence in a summary should be identifying the main idea. Okay? Whether, as I said, it's a character, an event, or something along those lines. And I'll give you an example here in a little bit. Next, you're going to be finding supporting details for your story. Supporting details are basically information about the main idea. So, supporting details in the main idea example would be the storm. Okay, if the storm, the snowstorm is the main idea, maybe the cold temperatures, the wind blowing, the icy roads, all those things would be supporting details about that main idea, the storm. Okay? And then finally, your conclusion is just basically to wrap up and restate what it is that took place in your summary. So, my conclusion would be something along the lines of, the storm was cold and windy and it affected us all. Period. And that would wrap it up. So, this section is geared all towards your summary activity. So it's creating a summary, your main idea, your supporting details, and your conclusion. This bottom section up here in your notebook, I want you to write as a separate little spot. Skip a couple of lines in your notebook and write the words, vocabulary words. Because as you're reading today, I want you to be able to take a look at your vocabulary words or different words that maybe pop up during the reading. You can underline them during the reading when you find them, and then put them in your vocabulary word section of your notes. And then we're going to, as a class, break them down and come up with good definitions so you can understand what it is that they mean. Alrighty. Now hopefully you guys all have all that information, all the summary activity notes in your notebook. You're going to be able to reference back to those throughout the hour when you're writing your own summaries, which is going to be coming up here shortly, when you're reading, and when you're doing this in the future. So I don't want you to lose this piece of paper that has these notes on it, telling you what the main idea is, what the supporting details are, and then finally what the conclusion is. Alright? The next step for class today is I'd like you guys to all get out that worksheet that I handed you earlier. That was about Pele and the king of soccer. On that worksheet is the story that you're going to be reading. Okay? Now I also have this story uploaded to your iPads, and I have this story obviously in paper version. If you're using the paper version and you're struggling with trying to remember what's going on in the story, trying to figure out exactly who the main idea is and so on, feel free to do what I like to do. I like to draw things in the margins that are related to the story that kind of help me remember it and help me bring everything back. Okay? If you're using the iPads, I also have the story recorded on the iPads so you can hear them while you read through it. Okay? But I do ask that you follow along while you're reading and you're not just listening, because we really want to build up those reading skills. Also, while you're reading, I want you to focus on words that you don't understand. Words that come up during the reading that cause you to struggle. You just can't quite figure out what it is that the author's saying. What I'd like you to do is, in the reading, if you have the paper version, I want you to underline those words. Okay? And then I want you to transfer those words into the vocabulary section in your notes so we can break them down as a class. Okay? If you're doing this on an iPad, you're going to maybe highlight it perhaps, use the highlighting feature, but then I still want you to write that word into your notes so we can break down those words later on. Okay? Now, as I said earlier, you can spread throughout the classroom. Use the chairs over there, the chairs over here. Get comfortable. If you do a really good job reading this, it should take you to around 10 to 15 minutes. Really focus on the details, the main ideas, supporting details, and the conclusion, and find those words that cause you problems. Okay? Thank you very much, and I'll be walking around trying to help you out. Alrighty, well, thank you guys for all those great vocab words. You guys did a great job with that, and I'm really happy with the detail that you're doing your reading with, okay? The next thing I want to do is I want to give you guys an example of what a good summary would look like, okay? I'm going to read it to you, and I want you to pay special attention to the main idea, the supporting details, and the conclusion. I'm going to give you the main idea with my first sentence. Next, I'm going to talk about 3 supporting details, or 3 supporting details or pieces of information about the main idea, and then finally wrap it all up with my conclusion. Okay? So, here is my summary for you. Pele. Pele was born in October of 1940. Pele is from Brazil, and he is a great soccer player. Pele went pro at the age of 15 He's won 3 World Cups and is known all over the world as the King of Soccer. Pelé was inducted into the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame in 1993. All of these accomplishments, plus being a great person, has led Pelé to be known as the King of Soccer all around the world. Alright, well that was my summary, the summary that I came up with. Notice that I focused on the main idea, obviously Pelé. Next, I gave you some supporting details, examples like he was professional at 15 years old. He won 3 World Cups. And then finally, I wrapped it all up by restating about as many accomplishments and then kind of solidifying the article by stating that he's known as the King of Soccer all around the world. The next thing that I'd like you to do is I'd like you to create your own summary. Okay? Your summary is going to be in your own words, your own ideas, the things that you took away from it. Now I want to stress to you that just because your summary is different than your classmates, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. You can have differences. Okay? Summaries are all about your perception. Yes, the main idea should be the same, because you all, after all, did read the same article. But the supporting details that you choose to use might be a little different, and you're going to use your own words when you state them. Okay? So please, remember, don't get frustrated. If you feel like you're getting frustrated, feel free to stand up, take a little break, go get a drink of water, use your coping skills. Okay? And just like before, I'm going to let you spread yourselves out throughout the room, get comfortable, and I'm going to give you guys another 10 to 15 minutes to write your summary. I'll be walking around to check on you and help and ask or answer any questions you have. Okay. As I was walking around there, I saw that you guys all were working really hard again. You're really on task today, and I appreciate that. Next thing we're going to do is we're all going to share our summaries. There's only 6 of us in here today, so it's not going to take us all that long, and I know that you didn't write too much for your information. I only asked for 3 supporting details, but I want to remind you of a few things. 1, be respectful of your classmates. You've been really great today. You were really respectful of me when I was reading. Be respectful of your classmates because you know it's hard to share with your class. Next, be really good listeners. Listen to what they say. Perhaps you can make some corrections to yours or get some ideas for yours. Learn from your classmates. And finally, speak nice and loud and be very clear. Now at this point in time, I would have the students take turns reading their summaries with their main ideas and such in them. I would do my best to be supportive of them, give them a lot of compliments, but also help them with different things when they get off track. Maybe they use a word wrong, to try to point them in the right direction, make sure that they have the main idea, 3 supporting details like was asked of them, and then also a quality conclusion. If all the students were able to meet that, that would be great, but I would definitely try to help everybody through. That way I'm assessing it immediately rather than letting them go home thinking one thing when in fact the truth is in another direction. With the last piece today then, what I'd like to do, thank you guys so much for sharing those. Hopefully you all feel much better about summaries and main ideas today, and you can all leave here today successful knowing that you understand what a main idea is and you can create a quality summary. Now tomorrow when we come to class, we're going to be using some different AVID activities that are incorporated throughout our school in order to kind of better comprehend the stories. And I'm also going to give you guys the opportunity to choose your own story to read and write a summary about. All right? Go home tonight, be safe, get some rest, and we'll see you tomorrow.